What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and it's been a little bit since my last video. I've been crazy busy with work and fixing up the house and all kind of stuff. So getting back, I've got a free weekend here. Got to be doing some videos. I need to get my videos done on 3 knives that Kevin Lefty EDC sent me. And as you guys know, he is my absolute brother. Kevin is seriously one of the best people that I've ever met. And also one of my best friends in my entire life, not just the people that I've met in the community. He sent me 3 knives. We're going to talk about one today, one that I was really hard to keep out of the pocket and carry anything else. That is the Trevor Burger, and I'm going to see if I can get all these letters right. LEXLC, carbon fiber. All these names of knives with their just numbers or letters, just I can never remember what the hell they are. So I've got it written down over here, LEXLC. That's what it is. And this is a bigger version. He has a smaller version of this. Apparently, he has a couple of other different models. This one is definitely the one that I would pick. And Kevin Lefty EDC had been hearing, I have been hearing a lot of great things about Trevor Burger and his knives. And so he decided to pick one up. These are not cheap. These are custom knives, and this one is about $860. So right off the bat, that's going to put a lot of people off and not be a knife that some people will want. But I will go ahead and say that I do have a custom knife. Got another one on the way. Handled some custom knives, and there is a difference between custom knives and high-end production knives or other production knives. This one is really no exception, and there's some really great things going on with this guy. Let's go ahead and get a kind of a cool look. Well, you know how we usually do it. We'll talk about it and then flip it over, get a better look on a desktop view with size comparisons and whatnot in a minute. Really, really nice. This one in particular does have some awesome micro milling. I love the texturing on this pocket clip. This one does have the carbon fiber inlay. And the thing with Trevor Burger is he actually does quite a few, he has quite a few options of materials that he uses for his inlays and for his knives. He's got everything from like mammoth bone to different fat carbon fibers and stuff. And the only thing aesthetically that I would say that I would change about this knife is the carbon fiber. Even though it is a nice carbon fiber, it is the plain weave kind of carbon fiber that that just doesn't appeal to me as much as like a marbled carbon fiber or even fat carbon fiber, which is on this guy, which is another knife that Kevin sent me, and we're going to use as a size comparison in a minute. That's the only thing aesthetically that I would change if it was my knife, or if I was to order this from Trevor Burger, would be that right there. But even with that being said, it is a very, very nice, beautiful design knife. It is aesthetically pleasing. I like the pivot, the way that this dish kind of goes in there. You've got a pop of color. It's not coming through very well on camera, but you've got plain tie or a blasted tie kind of look to it. But the pivot collar and the backspacer and pocket clip are all blue. That little pop of color really does a lot for this knife, and I'm glad that he did that. One thing that I noticed right off the bat, look at that lock bar. That is the thinnest lock bar I think I've ever seen on a knife. And I was like, oh, how's that going to be? Well, turns out it is absolutely wonderful. The lock bar access is easy to get to. It is not hard to get out of the way. It's very nice. It just took me by surprise how thin that was. Because, I mean, most of my knives who are lit up frame locks are way thicker than that, right? This one actually works phenomenally. And I was really happy. One thing that really, as far as aesthetics on this knife, really get me going is this absolutely 100% gorgeous hand satin, Jesus, Mother Mary, hand satin blade. Oh, I love a good hand satin. I have it on the 2.0. I had it on the Philippe Georget Custom Knife Factory F523 and a couple other blades. I love hand satin. I think it looks gorgeous. Now, a lot of people like hand satin kind of like me, but I baby it because I don't want it to scratch up because it's so beautiful. And I get that. That's why people don't like it. It's because when they use their blades, they don't want it to get scratched up. I get it. This one is fucking amazing as far as the hand rub satin. And looking at this knife, you would think that's just a sexy looking flat grind hand satin blade, right? No, 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 no. This damn thing is a hollow grind that starts right there at the spine of the blade and goes all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I love that. I love a good hollow grind, but on a lot of the other hollow grinds, let's see what you do. I've got the one that I really love in there. I don't even have it with me. Where's another hollow grind? Son of a mother. Sorry, I've been moving a bunch of stuff because of been moving around a lot. Oh my God. Where's my hollow grind blades? I have mostly flat grind blades, guys. Jesus. All right, so I moved a bunch of them into the other room. So I don't even have one to show you. That's fucking... It's kind of stupid. Sorry. Sorry. But I love a good hollow grind. But the thing is most of them, you know, they start their plunge grind up here. And so your hollow is basically like half the blade or whatnot. Damn, it pisses me off I don't have one. Anyways, so that's fine. And the reason that they do that, they have their reasons. But this kind of a shallow hollow grind, I guess is what I would call it. Keeps it thin and thin for a good while, you know, for sharpening and whatnot. Some hollow grinds just go way too deep and then go, as far as the actual curvature, start getting thicker, like right behind that edge. And I don't like that, because the more you sharpen, the thicker it's just going to get. This one is done exceptionally well. Like I love it. I want all hollow grinds to be like this one, really. It is about 14 thousandths behind the edge with that hollow grind. Oh, and it cuts. And it cuts well. Now, obviously, I didn't go crazy with this because it's not my knife. It's Kevin's knife. And also, it has that hand satin blade. So I did very minimal cutting with this, but it does slice very well. And we will still do cut tests, but we're only going to do cut tests on the very non-abrasive materials. We're not going to do the twisted sisal rope. So when we get to the cut test, you won't see that because I'm not going to scratch this blade. It's not going to happen. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this knife. Now, as you can tell, this is a front flipper. So I do enjoy front flippers. A lot of people don't even give them a shot because they might have tried one in the past and it just didn't work right away. Oh man, I tell you guys, front flippers are very, very fun. I'd actually prefer a front flipper than just a regular flipper. That's how much I like them, because it is fidgety. It's very fun to deploy once you figure it out. Some are easier than others. That is for sure. We have some other front flippers we're going to talk about, but something like the towel here, you know, very easy to manipulate. This one, just as easy. It's got very nice jimping to allow you to get traction, and just, I mean, it's just easy to get it out. It's got very, very nice action. The detent is basically perfect for a flipper-only knife, and it almost defies physics for me. My mind can't handle how this is also the only knife. Well, there was one other one. Was it the CFK Muscle? No, it was some other custom knife factory knife that didn't have any nail nick, anything in the blade, but I'm still able to put my finger there, and of course I failed it, and flick it out with ease. That's the reason I say that that's such a big deal, is because usually when that happens, that means the detent is so weak that it just doesn't take much to get the knife out there. That's not the case with this. This knife, I'm going to make sure I'm off the lock bar. This knife's detent is fucking awesome, as far as not worrying about this thing flying out like some of the other detents that you would have on this blade, where you're able to do this. It just doesn't usually happen. I'm not sure how they pulled it off, to be honest. I have no idea. It's locked up solid. It's centered right down the middle, and I can flick this thing out easier than one of my other favorite blades, which I also have in there. Sorry, I moved a bunch of my knives. Something like the Firm Forged Stinger that has the little bit of a fuller. It doesn't have a hole, so you have to get the meat of your finger on it and flick it out. It works. It works on that knife. But this one, even without that, is easier because I've got more room to get my finger on it right there in that area. I keep my finger right there. Boom. I'm telling you what, the fidget factor on this knife is off the charts because I can do that. And I found myself, you know, I always like to do a middle finger flick anyway, so I found myself doing that a lot. But the fact that it's a front flipper, I can do multiple deployment methods throughout the day, just playing with the knife. And that's why it really just didn't want to leave my pocket because it's an awesome, gorgeous knife, and it has the fidget factor, and that's really important to me. You know, guys, I do minimal cutting, and I don't use my knives very hard. It's very just basic stuff. So the fidget factor for me is sometimes more important, basically always is more important than the actual cutting, because all knives cut, just some knives cut better. This one has the whole package. It cuts amazingly. So let's go ahead and cut a little bit of cardboard. I'm not gonna go crazy because this is not my knife, but that hollow grind and 14 thousandths behind the edge just translates to a very slicey blade. It does an amazing, amazing job. And then of course with cardboard, you can just do this and it goes back to gorgeousness. And then of course, you know, something like your paracord, which is not abrasive, but sometimes a little bit tougher, absolutely nothing to it. So the cutting performance on the Trevor Burger is stellar. I really have enjoyed it. I think it makes just an excellent high-end or custom knife that you can carry with you and actually be a good, useful tool, as well as being fidgety and just gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous knife. If you go to the website, which I will actually have that, you know, listed down below, as well as his Instagram page, you know, he has quite a few options that you can get as far as texturing on the handles, the materials, and all that stuff. So definitely go hit him up. It's one of those knives that I probably would not have picked up on my own. And, you know, that's what's great about being in this community, especially having friends like Kevin, is that he sent it over for me to check out. And I'm a huge fan of Trevor Burger now. Now, this is about one of his biggest knives. And as far as specs-wise, you know, it fills my hand as far as the overall length and the thickness of the handle and all that, which we'll get to specs in a minute. So it's a very ergonomic knife, which we haven't talked about yet, but specs-wise is about the biggest one that he's got from what I can see. Most of them might be just a tad bit smaller. This one, of course, does not have a finger choil, but you can see the ergonomics and the shape of the handle where you can get right up here, and there's your first hump, and then it just kind of swoops down back here without having a point, very nicely rounded off. And so when I put my finger right there and wrap up, I definitely can get 4 fingers around it, even can see a little bit hanging out because the handle length is 4.3 something or whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. But very, very ergonomic. Now, I don't have to have jimping. This jimping, of course, is back here, but the reason the jimping is back here is because the jimping is made for the front flipper, right? It's not made for anything else. So whenever I'm in the saber grip, I'm right here away from the jimping, and I don't care. I still think it would be cool for this, because it's very good jimping, for it to actually go all the way up. I think that would be great. But it would probably take away from the sleekness of the look of the blade, especially when you're looking at it like this. So I understand why he didn't do that. So ergonomically, this thing is a win. There is no hot spots. The pocket clip is very nicely rounded, contoured, and works amazingly. It's not a deep carry pocket clip, which you guys know that I don't care about. But it is definitely does not create any hot spots in my big old fat hands at all. Very, very comfortable in the saber grip, which is how I usually use my knives. But just about any grip that you put it in is going to be comfortable because it is, you know, somewhat neutral, but just has enough contouring there to where it just kind of feels like it's wrapping around your hand instead of your hand wrapping around it. It's kind of weird. Very, very good design, and I love it. The only gripes that I could really give this knife before we flip the camera around is, you know, I would choose a different carbon fiber for this. The inlay is very, very nice. It is raised up just a tad bit all the way around from the titanium, which is on purpose because it's very even all the way around. The inlays are inset perfectly. The only other gripe that I have is this whole deadgum knife is T6 hardware. Now, it's very high quality hardware, that is for sure. I didn't take the knife apart or anything, but I have my bougie driver that I got from Kevin Lefty EDC, the guy who sent me this knife, and my brother. You guys know, I will talk about him forever, and I will continue to do so. But it feels like the hardware is deep enough to where you're not going to have, you know, very good issues, but being a custom knife, being at the price point, and knowing what the community really wants is not T6s, I'm disappointed that it's T6s for everything, including the pivot. Even if the body screws and the pocket clip screws and stuff was T6s, but the pivot itself is T6. I don't like that at all. Not to say that it's going to be a problem. it probably isn't going to be a problem for somebody who owns this knife and takes it apart, you know, a lot to clean it or whatever. However, for me and my personal preference, I do not want a T6 on my pivot. That's just me. So I want that changed if it's possible, which it should be. But he's not going to listen to me. It's just a personal preference for me. So, but that is really it. That's only gripe that I have on this knife is that T6 hardware, really. Everything else is absolutely stunning, put together amazingly, sturdy, and just the epitome of what I want in a knife like this, when it being a front flipper, the defilement of my brain that I can do this and have a detent that's still strong enough to not fling the knife out is bonkers to me. That's why I love this knife so much, really. If it wasn't really for that, it would be a great knife, and I'd give it a great review because it definitely deserves it. But that right there, that's fucking amazing. I still don't know how he does it. But anyways, let's turn the camera around and do some size comparisons and some specs. Get a closer look at this guy, you know, of the Trevor Burger LEXK. Because I can never fucking say that without looking at it. Let's do it. All right, guys. So as you can see in this circle, this knife is a, you know, I would say a regular size knife. It's not too big. It's not too small. It is a, in my opinion, a regular sized knife, especially for EDC. What are we looking at as far as specs? We are looking at overall length of about 7 inches and 5/8. We're looking at a 3.3 inch blade, a 4.3 inch handle, blade thickness of around 130 thousandths with 14 thousandths behind the edge due to that very great hollow grind. We're looking at about a handle thickness this way of about Jesus Mother Mary. 0.45, so under the ½ inch as far as the handle thickness, and about 3.4 ounces, which I really, really think is amazing with titanium carbon fiber. But as much of this we have here with a 3.3 inch blade at 3.4 ounces, that ounce per inch thing is right there at it. I think is an amazing weight for this particular build. The guys who care about ratios, I don't think will have a problem with this. As far as front flippers are concerned, guys, I want to say this is probably the best one that I've had. And I've had the Philippe Georget 523, and that's a behemoth. And then they have the 520, which is a more style or size knife as this. I haven't actually felt one of those, but I would put those pretty close. Now, you're talking about a high-end production knife of custom knife factory versus a custom knife like this. And so I would actually expect to enjoy this more, and I do. I really, really enjoy this a lot, even more than I did my 523. Because I can do this better than I could. I was actually thinking before I sold my 523, thinking about getting a little cutout in there so I could do the reverse flick. You don't have to do it with this one because the reverse flick works so amazingly. Let's go ahead and get some closer looks at that micro milling. So nice, so even. Adds texturing where you want it without being aggressive. The fit and finish is just amazing on this guy. I mean, you can tell, you know, on these little close jimping, you can get some dirt in there. That's where that's at. Either that or skin. Look at that blade. Oh my God, look at that blade. Jesus, that's sexy. I mean, oh, that's why I love a hand satin blade, guys. It's freaking gorgeous. Freaking gorgeous. Let's go ahead and put some size comparisons up here. Give you an idea of the size without having to do math in your head or figure out what is 7 5/8, right? Here it is against the PM2. And so as you can see, let's put it pivot to pivot. As you can see, the PM2 is a larger knife. Blade to handle ratio on the PM2, it sucks, you know, according to a lot of people. I don't mind it. I actually do like the PM2 and the way the handle is. But as you can see, it is definitely a smaller knife, but not drastically smaller than the PM2. Let's go ahead and put it up against my top front flipper in the collection right now, which is this guy. This is the Kunwu Tao. And the Kunwu Tao is a larger knife, and it does... it's more size of the PM2 than the Trevor Burger, but holy crap. Now the Kunwu Tao, I've done a review on this, is an awesome front flipper. This one does have more of a fall shut action than the Trevor Burger. So I like a fall shut action, but the smoothness of this blade that we have with just a little bit of shaking still makes it fidgety for me, very, very much so. I can also do the middle finger flick, which I can't do on this guy, so it just makes this way more fidgety, even though this one has a back flipper and a front flipper. I just wish that the blade was just something there, or a little bit taller, or if I could do that with this, holy fucking moly, would that be something. But yeah, oh boy, if a band could dream, woo, that would be awesome. But look at this. I mean, as far as gorgeous, I love the design of the Komu Tao. I really do. I think it's a great design, and it has a deep carry pocket clip. The Trevor Burger, though, is kind of still on another level. Even though this is so inexpensive for what you're getting, I think this is basically the deal of the century, especially what I got it on the Kickstarter, because I only paid $134 for M390 and titanium with that kind of action, and you're paying $860 for the Burger. The difference is actually it's a custom. You know, this is a production knife, that is a custom knife, and so you definitely can tell differences. I'm just saying that the Komu Tao is definitely a deal, but all day every day would I pick the Burger over this, even though this is such a good knife. The Trevor Burger is above and beyond what you expect from a front flipper and a knife in general, made with those kinds of attention to detail. Let's go ahead and put it up against the other two that you will see reviews on. This is the Shimwari. I don't really know how to pronounce that, to be honest with you. Gareth Bull Shimwari, which is made by We. This is the production model. This one is definitely smaller than Trevor Burger, so I like the size there much better, even though this one is still comfortable in hand, and the action is a little bit more fall shut than the Trevor Burger. And I do like that, guys. I like to have the fall shut action, which the Trevor Burger does not have. However, it's not a deal breaker for me because it has a lot of the other features. But as you can see, this one, it is just a little bit more fall shut right there. And then the other one is the Pina X Series Lanny that I got from Kevin, and the Lanny is also smaller. They're about pretty close in size, the Shimwari and this one. So those are all the front flippers that I have in the collection as of the moment, or here with me at the moment. So you can see a difference in those. And I just think it is right there in the sweet spot right now for, size, especially for me. Some people might think it's a little bit big. Some people think it might be a little bit small. I personally think it's, pretty perfect as far as an EDC light use knife. It's definitely strong enough to handle, the tougher task, but I would never use this as a work knife. It's just too beautiful, too well done, and too expensive. I mean, $860 is not chump change. It is not. It's, that's quite a bit of money. And so, of course, with value, I definitely think it's worth the money. However, I mean, it's not a great value. Like I said, the Komu Tao Titanium M390, $134. If you buy it as a production knife, you might pay about $170, $180. So this, I believe, is a value. This is not a value. However, it is worth every single penny as far as I'm concerned for what you're getting. It's just, I'm a huge fan of Trevor Burger now. I'm so glad I was able to check this out due to Kevin Lefty EDC, because I might have to try to find a configuration that I want and have it in the collection. It's a possibility. I'm not going to say I'm going to go find one right now, but it's definitely a possibility that one of these will make it in my collection. I just have to find one with the inlay material and stuff that will make me happier and make me want to spend that kind of money. So guys, thanks for stopping by and checking it out with me. This is a beautiful knife. Kevin, go check out Kevin Lefty EDC. I know all you guys are probably already subscribed, but if you're not, go subscribe to Kevin Lefty EDC. Go check out Trevor Burger on his website and his Instagram. All of that will be linked down below. Guys, remember, fuck YouTube and Google, and stay safe in this absolutely crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.